Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. This is Voidwrought. This is a sweet Metroidvania, and I'm so excited to show it with you today. We're going to jump right in before I introduce my couch. So time is going to start when I start a new journey. Time's going to be in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, Allie.
Good luck. Let's go.
All right, so I'm allison8bit. I'm here to show this cool little game, and with me,
I'm Quacksilver. I like indie games the normal amount.
And I'm ProfessorBurtch, and I like normal games the indie amount.
all right, so Voidwrought. We're the simulacrum. We're hatched from a cocoon, as is common from these kind of games. Some kind of weird birth or something. Yeah, birth's good.
I guess this continues the birth block in some way.
So we're just going to talk to this NPC real quick and get a little healing item. So this is going to be a lot of jumping, as you're going to see at the very start. So when you walk on the ground, you move a little bit slower. So we're going to hop everywhere. Hope you like bunny hops.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the prologue of a small indie game called Celeste, it's basically that, but for the entire game, even once we get movement upgrades, being in the air is just strictly better than being on the ground.
It's not like Quake in that way.
For real. And yeah, we're just going to be making our way to a little ability over here. So Metroidvania, classic genre for many of us. You got to go get abilities. You got to go take that to the next spot. Easy peasy. These purple rooms that you're going to see throughout the run are going to be save points. They let you heal. They refill your magic, and they give you all your heals back. So we'll be using this quite a bit. And this will be our first of the abilities. This is adaptation, which is going to let us slide under tiny sections. So occasionally useful in combat, but mostly for movement. And a demonstration.
I love when the Metroidvania tutorializes the ability.
So over here, you might see me doing some pogos. They're pretty prominent in this game. They're not super needed, but they're helpful in quite a few spots.
Yeah, and as is the case with so many Metroidvanias in the wake of 2017, there is a fair bit of movement that we can do aided by pogos. A couple of skips, including one coming up. It doesn't majorly impact our combat. There's one boss about halfway through the run that will be entirely dependent on it, but other than that, it's just sort of nice to mix in. The Simulacrum's basic 3-hit combo is just faster in most cases, so for combat, we will generally trying to be stay horizontal with enemies, but pogos are nice.
Yep, and we use the pogo right there to get to this relic early. This relic lets us shoot some little throwing knives kind of thing. It's called the Living Talon. All the different relics are kind of just like spells. A lot of ads in this room. And so we're just going to open up this door by destroying 5 of these guardian idols. And yeah, so you're going to see me doing 6 hits to refill a cast of my spell that's on my relic, so combat's going to be centered around that. And so yeah, we're going to be heading our way down to the first of the bosses. Do a little save right here real quick. Safety saves are pretty useful, and every time you pick up an ability or save, that's going to be, we're going to come back to if you die or save and quit, so that'll be useful in a few spots. But this is the first boss. Birch, you can go ahead and take it away.
All right, so this is our first boss of the run, the Council. The Council is a multi-phase boss fight, and like how Quack mentioned earlier, we're going to be mainly taking the Council on with our 3-hit combo. An important thing to note also is that every 6 hits of our normal basic attacks gets us 1 use of our relics back. So what we're going to be doing is not only weaving in that 3-hit combo normally, but also trying to sneak in as many living Talon procs as we can get throughout it, which, as long as we're in melee range, we should get all 3 of the Talons to hit pretty nicely. It's just about 1 phase Not necessarily for all the stone faces behind us in the tomb currently, but just close enough. This is one of two early bosses that, frankly, before the most recent patch, were more difficult than even some of the later bosses. And the reason why we're kind of sort of running on the down-patched version of the game is so that the difficulty of the bosses is kind of front-loaded before we go later on into the game. And that is the council defeated. Herald vanquished, I might say.
Yep, and this is, of course, Metroidvania fashion. We're going to be getting a new ability here. This could be improved ligaments here, which is going to be our little ledge grab ability. We're going to be using this for... It's a really nice one in this game. A lot of games just go straight to like the wall jump or whatever. This gives you that little bit of middle ground.
Yeah, grabbing walls, just like in Celeste.
So true.
My favorite Metroidvania. Ali also talked to the first of 6 total devotees we need over the course of this run. There's a whole progression system with where you spawn in that you can use devotees to basically unlock things. We're using them exclusively to excavate our way towards where she needs to be to fight the final boss, so we just need to grab 6. They're mostly on the way in the speedrun route. That's why there was actually some competition between multiple different routes of this game for a while. This is one reason, alongside some upgrade routing and some fun skips that save time, that we are running this particular route of Voidwrought.
Yep, and you may have saw me pick up another ability there, Claws Over Attack. That's going to give us a bit of an aura that gives us extra attack on all of our basic attacks here. We're going to pick up this Void Gate. This is a room we're going to use for fast travel later. And for now, we're just going to be climbing our way out of this little area. So Prolix, if you've got some donations, now's a great time.
I do have some, yeah. Here's $5 given to us from a Bottom Hat saying, so hyped for SGDQ 2025. Here's a little something to get the week started. Love GDQ, love MSF, and love trans rights.
Trans rights?
And I have $250 here from Noglik saying, thank you all for making the world a brighter place. Also, oh yes, of course, Dwarf Woot with a $5 donation saying, good luck on the run, and a 4-leaf clover emoji for the good luck, by the way.
You got time for probably about 2 more.
Wonderful. Here is a $50 donation from Clarinet Hero saying, trans rights less than 3. And I also have another $50 here from Lady Sanguine saying, you're all awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, we're just doing a little safety save right here. We're going to be going to the first arena of this game. We skipped 1 or 2 earlier with our movement that we went to, but we're going to have to go do this at some point, so. Here we're just having different ads spawn in and trying to kill them as quickly as possible. For this, we're trying to actually hit them against the wall.
And you can see between waves of the arena, the spawns are actually absurdly fast. You can see that grounded enemy spawned in basically right away. So Ali is just making sure her damage buff is constantly up because there's basically no downtime in any of these arenas.
All right, that one's finished. So from here, we're just be climbing back up. We have to go pick up a little safety bonus heal, which will be on the way. And we get some cool pogo movement. The ledge grab ability really opens up this game's movement in general and makes some really sweet looking movement a bit later on. But for now, we're just climbing back up.
So while we do this movement, speaking of movement in general, Ali, you want to talk about the history of the routes between this game? Because there was some competition for a while between major movement abilities to grab over the course of this run.
Yeah, so the old run used to primarily use grapple. That was tried and true. It was what the devs intended you to do. Originally, there was a time when you had like an ability where you can put out a little grapple hook wherever you want, and it let some interesting glitches happen, but it was just still kind of slow to get grapple and everything. Required like getting 2 strength upgrades. But we found that you can actually skip one of the strength upgrades, and there's a skip where you can get your ability for double jump and do a very precise skip that's near the very end of the run. And if you do that, you're able to skip getting grapple entirely, which saves like 3 or 4 minutes. And for a run, even if like around 50 minutes, now it's like 45. That's like a pretty huge save. So we even used to get 2 strength upgrades still, but I decided to cut it because, you know, you don't need to, you just gotta just beat the bosses. Remove the crutch, you know?
Exactly. Just be good at the video game.
Just win.
Exactly. All right, so this section is a big cycle-based room. I'm trying to hit a bunch of enemies without getting hit, but it has some very cool movement. That's fine. Less fine. Oh, all right. But we're making it through nice and simple.
God, the sound design in this game is so delightfully, like, squishy.
Each little squick.
And for those of you who thought we were playing medieval fantasy or otherwise, surprise!
No, it's Eldritch Horror. So a little bit of lore about the game as we continue to move on to the next boss. So this takes place in a sort of post-apocalyptic future where the stars have scorched the surface of whatever terrestrial planet we are on at the moment.
Yeah, you guys got game audio?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great. Just let me know.
And now we're in John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, so we make it to the abandoned expedition, which is like some kind of like bunker. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like a big like, oh, this is not in this past like it looks like it was going to be. So it makes the lore really, oh, there's more going on here.
Yeah, it's at this point in the game we're going to start seeing more kind of like this mixture of industrial technology and monstrosities sort of combined, which will very much be showcased in the next boss that we're going to fight.
Yeah, speaking of monstrosities, general squick warning for every boss until I think the last 2.
A little
Second
bit.
to last. I think the second to last one, there are 2 bosses in particular that there is a mild emetophobia or fear of vomiting warning that I will give prior to it.
We love indie Metroidvanias.
Because they're the 2 bosses I like to call the gross bosses.
This one's no looker either. This is the Eternal Engine.
So the Eternal Engine is sort of a 2.5 part boss. First we have the little worm on legs that Ali just knocked out, and the 3 panels in the background exposing the sort of hearts of the Eternal Engine. The sort of strategy of this fight is Ali's trying to get the Eternal Engine, or the worm part of it, to crash into the wall so it's stunned a little bit. Otherwise, it's just using the 3-hit combo of that while also dodging the adds that are also spawning throughout this fight. But you need to knock out the worm to open up the next heart panel. And as you can see, as more adds are spawning, this is also why this boss is another one of these sort of unforgiving early bosses that needed to be nerfed a little bit in later patches.
Yeah, the ads get to be a problem.
Yeah, on later patches, the ad spawn rate and I think also the total number was drastically reduced.
Also, when did these knives start coming out of the floor? I actually don't remember this as a part of the fight.
Yeah, the problem is the boss didn't come over. We'll get that again.
All right, while we run it back, Prolix, if you've got donations or messages, please let them rip.
You bet. Here's a donation from a 3pup giving $25 and saying, donating for one of the best friends a girl could ever ask for. Thank you for all the support you've given me, Allie. You are an absolute inspiration and one of my most favorite people in my life. Best of luck on your run. Sending all the EP love I can muster from the back couch. Less than 3. Also, here is $300 sent in by Power Snake and Quali. Best of luck with the run. It's always a pleasure to watch you play. Love from everyone at Power Snake and Quali.
Yeah, those are the devs, as always. They love the speedrun community. They've done challenges. They're super supportive. They help out a whole bunch, so.
We love dev donos. Thank you so much.
Yeah, speaking of the devs, while we're still on the internal engine right here, there was a speedrun challenge a few months ago that there was like 2 separate types of challenges that both essentially went either to up through the council or another route that went up through the internal engine.
All right.
Yeah, we got through the boss this time.
First try, every try.
Herald Vanquished.
But yeah, again, that was one of the harder bosses for this route. Luckily, the ones after this should be a bit smoother sailing. But here we're going to be getting Augmented Cortex, which is the next of our major abilities. This one is going to let us interface with ancient technology.
My favorite form of ancient technology, the wheel.
This is going to open doors and has a few other utilities throughout. It's also how we're going to be able to use those fast travel points that we got. And so we're going to do our some little pogos to get up. Pogos plus ledge grab. Just a perfect pairing here.
And that like camera pan over towards that door is always one of the most awkwardly long things.
Yeah,
especially coming out of the like intensity of the Eternal Engine fight.
And the other one is like immediate. You're just like, okay, time to start mashing.
The game said you will cool down after that fight.
All right, so that was our 4th of our devotees. We only need 2 more. Both are on the way of things we're doing. That was the one that was out of way. And we just go back to the save point. So the save and quits are going to be useful at least a few other times. But we're going to be using that just to get through. So here we're just going to be making our way through here. You probably got time for a couple more donations.
Okay, I have $5 here from Radiant Illumina saying, Allie, it's wonderful to see you up on stage once again. You have been such an inspiration to me and such a wonderful friend. You're going to rock this run, and shout outs to all our friends as well.
Thank you, thank you.
And one more short one. I've got $50 here from Robert saying, thank you, GDQ, for this wonderful event. Greetings from Germany.
So I don't know if we described this earlier, but we can actually use the Living Talon to open up a bunch of different doors, destroy different things. It's a useful tool that we'll use throughout the run, outside of just for damage. It's super good just to get that early. And here we're making our way to Lost Gardens. From here, we're just going to be making our way to the next boss fight and getting more abilities, of course. The Metroidvania format.
It's a classic, down to the mysterious and random garden in the middle of your otherwise post-apocalypse. You need some greenery in your Metroidvania. It can't all be doom, gloom, infection, and corruption. Speaking of, we should probably talk about the main core conceit of this game and the run. In classic Metroidvania fashion, 3 keys, final boss at the center. In this game, they're actually literal keys, though.
Yeah, and here we're going to fight this little mini boss here, the Alchemist, which is really cool. They actually have the same pattern. They always jump to the left first and to the right, but they throw these projectiles that deal 2 damage, so you got to be a little bit careful.
I love Full Metal Alchemist.
Is Full Metal Alchemist a Metroidvania? Discuss.
Yes. They do gain powers.
I was just saying, it feels like there's a lot of gaining powers. There's a lot of exploration.
Yeah.
We can workshop this.
I think it would make a great Metroidvania.
If no one's got... That's true.
All right, and we can actually just skip this soul normally. This is going to be the last of the equipable abilities we're getting. This is just going to let us heal just a tiny bit faster. I grabbed an extra heal, may as well make it fast.
Yeah, healing faster is going to be a little bit better in some of these fights. There's at least a couple arenas still to go, and we know how quickly ads and other sort of mobs spawn in those arenas. Healing a little faster is always helpful.
Yeah, and so we're making our way to the next ability, but we have a little skip on the way. We love skips. So this is when we're supposed to be here normally, but you're supposed to go through like this little like time trial thing, but
Nice.
you just skip it all together. Easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, clap.
That is like a very precise jump. It looks like it's just not a full jump, but it's very close to it. Very easy to miss it or to bonk. So this could be our dash ability, which makes it a real Metroidvania, like Celeste, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No other game has ever had a dash.
Pogo, though?
So we'll be making our way over here to the first of our weapon upgrade abilities. This is actually interesting because this patch had a different location for a lot of the weapon upgrades, but they actually removed some of them on a later patch because they had more than there were weapon upgrades available. So on this patch, we're lucky to have some extra ones, and one of them is just immediately like on the way. We need to go there for the devotee, which we'll get on the way back. But first, we need to go get an ancient cipher from...
Gotta wait for the bugs to cooperate here,
Of course, they never do.
which of course they will not. There we go.
The second to last devotee, and we got this little puzzle. Luckily, we always know the solution. And this is great. This is going to be the one and only damage upgrade we get. There was normally a second one we would get, but we have to gather resources for it, so we can buy one of the ancient ciphers, then go to a different vault to upgrade our damage, and now we just do one. Does it make boss fights harder? Yes. That's okay. It makes us go faster. And so here we're going to go down to talk to this NPC that we had passed by just a little bit ago. And they're going to ask us to do a favor for them. We're going to say no. And they're going to send us to jail, as one does.
As one does.
As you do.
So we're just going to make our way down here. This is going to be another boss fight. And you guessed it, another ability behind the boss fight. You might be sensing a pattern here. Grab a little Dorito on the way.
What flavor?
It looked like just regular.
Anyway, here we have the next boss to get out of this area, the Myrmidon. The Myrmidon is a soldier. Ali's going to be attacking primarily from behind. Most fights, keeping it horizontal because that big shield in front of it blocks all damage as well as fires off that fire laser beam. This is pretty much going to be the same standard combat combo that we have been doing throughout the run so far, weaving attacks. And now there's two more of them?
Wow, we've never seen this gimmick before.
It is worth noting that unlike some other boss fights in the genre that are 1 then 2, the second phase, though substantially more crowded, the two Myrmidons share a health pool, so it is designed for a little bit more damage racing and very clean.
And so here we're going to go in here and we're going to grab Awakened Arm, which is a charge attack, which we're not actually using it as an attack, we're using it to, break open various walls.
Break open walls,
Seals.
solve Sokoban puzzles later.
A very versatile charged attack that we won't really be attacking with. And so we're going to be going back to the first of the warp gates that we had in this run. And now we're pretty much just going to collect all the keys and get to the end game. We have 2 abilities we need to pick up on the way, but we get them after defeating the first 2 key holding bosses. So that's gonna be our goal right here. Probably got time for 2 donations.
Great. Yeah, I was going to see if I could offer something for you. I have $25 here from Kyle saying trans rights are human rights. Thanks, Kyle. And I also have a $5 donation here from Hockey Babbler saying there's no better crew to stay up this late with. Hooray, Eldritch Horrors. You're amazing, Allie, and you've got this. Or the Void's got you. Maybe both. Thanks for that one. That's great.
The Void comes for us all.
If no one's got me, I know the Void's got me.
Shoutouts to the Void.
So yeah, this is another arena. This one has some quite annoying enemies.
It's also a lot more spacious than the last arena that we saw, so enemy spawns are going to be quite all over the place, especially with a lot of these ranged enemies like the Blade Sworn.
But luckily that was very clean, very smooth.
Yeah, especially if you do not kill the Lightbringer early, that can get quite out of hand.
Yeah, they really can deal a number on you real fast.
They could really bring the light.
I've heard that before, yeah.
It's after 3 a.m.
It sure is.
3 is a very important number for this run.
It actually is. So yeah, we need to get those 3 keys, so we're on our way to the next boss here. This is just a lot of movement. There's some intentional damage they should be taking. But some of this is like cycle-based, so it's not too bad for us.
Yeah, we're taking optimally, I think, a third intentional damage tank on our way to the next boss fight.
No, but we took a third anyway. We could have skipped
I
one.
was just setting you up for that. Those flies are rude.
Another alchemist, and yet again, they always I have to wait for that.
In the typical Metroidvania fashion of mini-boss now becomes spawn that can be found in the wild later.
Yeah, and so that enemy will still jump to the left, just like in the first time we fight it, which means you can just completely ignore it. It's super kind.
What we are currently doing is making our way to the first of our 3 key-holding bosses. Fair warning, this is going to be one of the 2 I call the gross boss. So, and you will very much know why in a few minutes.
And so we have a flying enemy over here that's going to be quite useful for us. As you saw us already use them a few times.
Yep, just like our skip to the upgrade material. Easy every time.
The ledge grab and pogo combo does quite a lot of heavy lifting in this run.
And so here we're going to start getting chased by a big old thing of blood.
It's blood? I thought it was just nebulous. Gross.
It could be a little of both.
It's a lot of things. It's a lot of coagulation.
It's not pleasant, whatever it is. Allie made sure to use the awakened arm to knock those platforms down in this chase sequence because it does decrease the boss's starting health when we actually get to the arena. And prepare yourselves
for the Fermented. The Fermented is the first of our 3 key-holding bosses. The Fermented has 3 attacks in particular. One, that little volley of orbs from the top of it. The second, if it will fire it off, is, you guessed it, Vomit. And then the third is that charge attack that goes through the entire bottom of the arena screen. So this is going to be our boss that Allie takes care of mostly through pogoing. Pogoing, unlike our basic or regular basic attacks, does decrease damage, so this boss is going to take just a few more hits than it would doing our normal horizontal combo. Because as you can see, we're also not weaving in the talent attacks, because those are also a horizontal attack. But as long as Allie can chain the pogos together, 2 of the 3 bosses' attacks are pretty trivialized because the hitboxes just do not there. And there is the Herald Vanquish, and our Key of Blood has been obtained.
And we're not done yet, because we also get a new ability, the Unstable Nuclei. This is going to be kind of like a spider ball. It's a morph ball that lets you crawl on the walls, which is a really interesting ability, but you move really slow during it. So we want to only use it when we absolutely have to.
Yeah, and also something you saw in the fermented fight there was a very conspicuous hook point in the middle of the boss arena, as well as you can see some hook points scattered throughout the environment generally, starting now and persisting for the rest of the run. We won't be picking up grapple, as Ali mentioned. We are making it work with Unstable Nuclei and the double jump, which we'll get a little bit later. But Fermented is the one boss fight where it's very, very readily apparent how much not having grapple changes the fight.
And it just makes the route just completely different. Normally you'd get the Fermented later. Just works out that way for us, but now we grab it super early so we can get that extra ability. We do a little heal right here. And we're just go back to the court, where we fought the Myrmidons. Up here is going to be the second of the 3 key-wielding bosses. And so as we make our way through, this is just some pogoing and some use of the Unstable Nuclei. Now would be a great time for a couple more donations.
Wonderful. I have one here from Cyanphibian donating $10 saying, Allison, you're a wonderful person and friend, and seeing you on the main stage is one of my favorite GDQ pastimes. Good luck with the rest of the run, and I'll see you later this week, less than 3. So I have $10 here from Kyriakos saying, thanks for the work you guys do, smiley face. And I have $20 here from Rachel Guy, who needs sleep. SGDQ is on. 1 a.m. is a perfect time to support Doctors Without Borders.
All right, so here we're just using the ability that we got to open up this little, not a puzzle, just open up some doors, a path unlocked. We're gonna take a little safety save right here because we're about to go fight a boss.
This will be the second of our playfully disgusting bosses.
But it has one of the best soundtracks.
It really makes up for it because what is a court without some royalty? This is the Pustulant Prince. And you will find out very soon why he is pustulant. As you can see, there is a very noticeable, I'll call it orifice on his tummy. That will be very important later, but as we sort of take on the Pustulant Prince in this elevator fight, we can do a little bit more of our horizontal combos as we have typically done, while also avoiding the Prince's attacks. Now, if he will stop throwing rocks and just do the thing.
Pustulant Prince really saying it's bad to stereotype right now. Have these rocks.
I really body shamed the Pustulant Prince, and he decided, I'm not going to vomit for you today. And there it is.
We did it.
We did it, folks. Commentator's curse got the attack.
Ali, have you ever had a fight that was completely vomit-free?
Maybe once or twice. I've done this fight a lot, but
That was what? One
single, yeah.
One vomit attack?
just one, yeah.
The mildly pustulant prince.
The Pustulant Dish Prince?
We'll workshop.
Well, yeah. That bit's bad.
with that, we get trapped in this sort of mini return section. This is one of the only places in the game where your save and quit won't actually return you to checkpoint because the game is like, you have crashed an elevator, find your way out of here. It's not a terribly long section, but it is always nice to have that little Metroidvania progression push and pull of like, you've been stuck somewhere new.
And you can't warp out.
Yeah, we took a little safety save there that was really not needed because we do have one more arena coming up that is quite the headache, but that'll get us double jump, and then we'll be on our way to the final areas. So, although there's of course ads everywhere. All right, so this is gonna be the final arena of the run.
The builder is conflicted.
Yeah, God, seeing the like instant spawns on some of these massive enemies, or even just the like regular human-sized ones like the Blade Sworn, is disconcerting to say the least.
All right, easy arena. Though.
Clean.
Still had a whole heal if I needed it.
Just that easy.
And this is going to be our final ability that we're going to be picking up. This is the double jump ability called Hollow Cartilage.
Hollow's a really good adjective in the context of Metroidvanias. Someone should make a game or two featuring that.
Oh, I think there is one. One with the Pogo 2?
DuckTales Remastered.
Yeah, DuckTales Remastered. Yeah, that.
Certainly was.
Woohoo.
I don't know where the hollow is, but... Also, if you've played a lot of Metroidvanias, you know there's different double jump abilities. This one will actually refresh on your pogo, so we can use this in quite a few spots for some really fun movement in this next spot. We're going back to the Lost Garden one more time, and here we're making our way up to the Obsidian Observatory. We're going to be using the nuclei for some cool tricks. We're using double jump. We finally have all the upwards movement to climb this whole area. And yeah, so this game is just an absolute blast casually. There's a lot going on with it. It has multiple endings. It has a bunch of different boss fights, a bunch of different things going on. You're seeing, of course, just a fraction of it, but this game is sweet. The devs are great if you're looking for a new game to speedrun, or just a casual Metroidvania. It's great. It's on sale right now in the Steam Summer Sale. And you know, you should always be playing more indie games.
This is extremely true.
And we're also, even with all the upgrades we've gotten so far, we're only still seeing a small fraction of the upgrades that are available and the sort of builds you can do and things you could weave together. As you can also see, as we're sort of using the unstable nuclei, the sort of tendrils of the nuclei have a very long reach, and a lot of the skips we're going to be doing later are very much thanks to the very generous tendril hitbox of the nuclei reaching out for walls, and sort of using our momentum, sort of swinging from one place to another like a spider ball, as you will, allows us to reach certain places we probably shouldn't, and which is also kind of why we're able to like completely take grapple out of the necessary pickups in terms of power-ups.
Yeah, we have found just enough skips to make it so that it's possible to skip it and saved a bunch of time. It is a bit trickier. We do have one skip coming up that's going to be quite tricky, but it shouldn't be too bad, honestly.
And here you'll notice Allie is in unstable nuclei whenever we're forced into it or ascending, but generally when possible going to try and stay in base simulacrum form to fall because gravity actually affects base simulacrum meaningfully, and so it's just a little bit faster to weave in unstable nuclei when it is necessary and no more.
It's almost like sticking to the wall is bad for falling.
You know,
Many are saying this.
I'm tempted to agree. So here we're just going to do a little jump up here and grab onto that ceiling. And you're going to see more grapple points that we're skipping all throughout this section, because we have just enough abilities to actually get through here without it. The game doesn't want you to do this, though.
Of course not. That's why there's all these curves into the ceiling.
Yeah. And that's why to sort of reset up this skip, Allie had to go down into the little passageway up that we came up in and use the momentum to carry up and to grapple onto the ceiling.
Yeah, and here is where double jump is first going to be important. It'll help us. Normally you can use the nuclei to get all the way around, but it's going to take forever. But here you're just going to double jump, skip over a little thing. But this next room is the hardest skip. I'm going to need a little bit of time just to focus on it.
In one. So that unstable nuclei movement is incredibly tight because of the hazards that will simply just respawn you instantly. There's a notch on the wall that Allie used there as a visual cue in order to start drifting away from the wall to end the unstable nuclei, to be able to jump just barely above them. And our reward for that is Sokoban puzzles in our Metroidvania.
Yeah.
You know, those are more common than you think.
Now we just have one more climb section as we make our way up to the top of the Obsidian's Observatory, and for our final of our key-holding bosses.
Yeah, it's a pretty large ascent, and the fact that we can do this with just nuclei and double jump now is meaningfully important for the way we've routed everything out.
Yeah.
And there's a billion enemies here. They can all do different attacks at you. It's a dangerous area, so I try to take a safety save or two in this section. Plus, we got one more boss coming.
It's almost like this is a late game area.
You know, this sounds about right. And so here is going to be the Astronomer. This is the final of the key-holding bosses. And this one is also an RNG nightmare.
Yeah, so the Astronomer has a handful of attacks. One attack in particular is the most annoying, and it's the attack I like to call PK Starstorm. You will see why it is in a bit. The Astronomer, of course, sort of being stars, and here comes the PK Starstorm. So there are the three
You had
platforms.
to introduce it. I was like, what if we just go without it for the entire fight?
No, we saw 4 in the practice room earlier. So there's also these purple platforms, similar glowing to the Sokoban squares we were hitting around earlier. We're gonna have to activate those to essentially be the only way to dodge PK Starstorm in this fight. But other than that, we also use those platforms to gain verticality, because this is also just as vertical of a fight as it is a horizontal one. But other than that, there's really not that much different combat-wise from what we have been doing. It's almost like we've had the same abilities since very early on in the game. I was going to take a quick heal as the Astronomer surrounds itself, and hopefully...
Allie, out of curiosity, what's your record for number of PK Starstorms in a single Astronomer fight?
I mean, it may have been the ones in the practice room.
That's what I was worried about.
This is 2 at the moment.
All right, we'll at least get the heal in.
Astronomer was very nice there and stayed in our attack range while also...
There we go.
That is 2.
We will take 2 PK Starstorms and nothing more. And as soon as the astronomer starts monologuing at you, you can just save quit out. Allie still does have the final key, but we have a little bit of, like, as I said, a long time ago, but you're smart, you remember. We have to use our devotees to unlock the path to the actual final boss and do a little bit more movement. So Prolix, if you got any last donations, announcements for the run, the floor is yours.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I suppose I should remind everyone that up next is that run of Time Spinner, and we have a bid war open where you can vote with your donation dollars. We're going to be picking the companion familiar during that run. Some of the options: a demon, griffin, a sprite. But right now, Merchant Crow in the lead. That's right, Corvid Gang, rise up. But if you'd like to change that, last chance to put in a donation and get it toward that incentive. Remember, when you're donating, click the add incentive button and then go over to the bid war tab. I have a donation here. It's $50 from Gonk saying, I was the programmer on Voidwrought. Always fun to see runners crush your game. Good luck with the run, Allie.
Awesome. So we have just unlocked the inner sanctum in here, and we are making our way to the final boss fight. This final boss is an interesting one. 3 keys open up the final area.
The final boss has been here the whole time.
It sure has. So this is the one cutscene we're getting in this whole run. As soon as this door opens,
Translocate.
Okay.
Trans rights.
Can you get some GDQ eyes in chat?
all right, so we have a strategy here that's a little hard to pull off. We can try to get stuck right here. There we go.
Nice.
The first time's easy, the second time's, and it gets a little bit harder after this.
Yeah, it's very much a I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me kind of moment. This is also an unavoidable attack for the most part, getting trapped this way. But for the most part, it's just going to be jumping up and hitting the eye with our normal combo.
Yep, time is coming up. It is on the final interact prompt after the boss is defeated.
So after the eye explodes, there's going to be one more little prompt. And as you can see, even with the little baby jail that the boss throws up, hit boxes are a thing, and we can just kind of attack through it.
All right, and time. All right, that was Voidwrought. Not bad. Had one unfortunate death to a boss, but we made it through and we crushed it. Do y'all have any shout-outs you want to do?
Shout outs to the Frame Fatales. And thank you so much, Allie, as always, for having me on your couch. It is a treat with every single GDQ run that you have put up, which has been quite a number.
At this point, it has, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the couch as well. It's been a great time and a good reason to stay up till 3 in the morning.
All right, and of course, I'm allison8bit. You can find me on socials and over on Twitch, where I'm going to start streaming again soon, hopefully, fingers crossed. But that's it for me. So thank you so much for having me, everybody. Have a great night, great morning, and I'll see you all soon.